The greatest slavery is a life you never question. George Orwell. Before we begin, here's a small ritual. Write in the comments one word that accurately describes your current state. Sign it, and let's get started. Why are we here? No, really. Why? Not what your teacher told you in school, not what your parents wanted you to believe. I'm asking you directly. Why are you on this planet? Why are you still breathing, walking, thinking, but not truly living? You wake up, scroll, drink coffee, go to work, come back, distract yourself, fall asleep, repeat. Somewhere in that cycle, you forgot the most essential thing. You stopped living. You're functioning. That's not the same. Your body is moving, but your soul isn't. It's gone quiet. This isn't just burnout. It's not a phase. It's a form of death. And the worst part, society treats it like it's normal. You're looking at your life from inside a box. You're inside a body that once felt like yours, but now it's just a shell. You play roles, wear masks, fulfill expectations. But whose script is this? You didn't write it. You were handed it. And you keep acting because you have no idea what else to do. A life without meaning isn't life. It's a simulation, an empty performance where the rules were set by someone else. Even when you succeed, there's still that emptiness. Why? Because it's not yours. Because deep down, you don't even know who you are. As long as you don't know why you're here, everything you do will feel like escape. Escape from silence, from truth, from yourself. And here's the truth. Most people are not living. They're drifting toward death, calling it life. So, who are we then? If we are not our achievements, not our titles, not our fears, if you strip all that away, what remains? Is it emptiness? Or maybe something deeper? Something we've simply forgotten? Think about it. Why now? Why this time? Why this body? Why this experience? Is it all random? Is it punishment? Or is there something intentional behind it? The world won't answer you. The world is too busy selling you a role. Be good. Be productive. Be liked. But you weren't born to be convenient. You were born to be real. That's why it hurts. Because deep down, you know you're playing a game that was never yours. The meaning of life is not to tick boxes, not to fulfill expectations, and definitely not to survive. Until you ask yourself, why am I here? Nothing else matters, because even the best strategy in the wrong game won't make you feel alive. The real question isn't how to live, it's why. And until you face that question, you are dead, just not buried yet. But that can change. You've been told that life is about progress, about chasing goals, becoming better, doing more, achieving success. But deep inside, something feels off. You've tried the vision boards, the positive affirmations, the books, the therapy sessions. You've followed the steps. You did everything right. And still, the emptiness hasn't gone anywhere. That's not your fault. It's not because you're broken. It's because the system lied to you. It sold you formulas instead of meaning. It told you to fix your mindset when the real wound was deeper. You were never meant to be optimized. You were meant to feel, to ask, to remember. Most psychologists won't tell you this, but healing doesn't come from doing more. It comes from stopping, from listening, from daring to ask the questions no one wants to face. What if you're not lost, but silenced? What if you've been so busy surviving that you forgot what it's like to truly exist? What if the pain isn't a signal that you're wrong, but a whisper that you've been asleep? You're not alone in this. More people than you think are walking through life with that quiet ache in their chest, that feeling of something's missing they can't name, that subtle grief over a life they've never lived. And if you're still here, still listening, maybe it's because part of you knows it's time to stop pretending, to stop scrolling, to stop running, because you weren't meant to live numb. If this resonates, take a breath. This space isn't here to sell you hope. It's here to show you the parts of yourself that were never given permission to speak. The truth is, the moment you stop denying your pain, you start reclaiming your life. And if you feel that spark, even faintly, I want you to stay with it. Don't let it die this time. If these words are hitting something raw, subscribe to this channel. Not because it's trendy, but because the more people hear this, the more we break the silence. If you feel like this is speaking to your truth, join the Telegram. That's where we go deeper, without filters. And if you recognize yourself in any of this, leave a comment right now. Write, "I'm done running from pain." Let's see how many of us are finally ready for the truth. You don't need fixing, you need truth. And that starts with one choice: to stop pretending you're okay when you're not. This space is for those who are tired of noise, tired of masks, tired of being told how to feel. It's for those ready to go deeper. If that's you, you already know what to do. You're not really living. And deep down, you know it. You wake up with a weight you can't name. You move through your day with a smile that feels more like a costume. You answer messages, attend meetings, pay bills, do what's expected. But behind your eyes, something's missing. And the scariest part? You've gotten used to it. You've adapted to the numbness. You've made peace with the emptiness. That's the most dangerous kind of death. The one that doesn't stop your heartbeat, just your ability to feel it. You didn't choose this. You were shaped into it. From childhood, you were trained to perform, to be good, to be useful, to be acceptable. You learned to suppress your anger, hide your sadness, shrink your truth. You became what others needed you to be. But in the process, you lost something. You stopped asking real questions. You stopped listening to your own voice. And the world rewarded you for it. With approval, with praise, with fake comfort. That was the trap. You traded your aliveness for belonging. Modern life doesn't want you awake. It wants you productive, distracted, manageable. That's why it feeds you content instead of connection, noise instead of depth, comfort instead of growth. You're constantly told to move on, stay positive, keep going. But what if the real strength is in stopping? What if your exhaustion isn't weakness, but a message, a signal that your soul is suffocating under the weight of the life you were never meant to live? No one talks about the grief of realizing you've been living someone else's story, the shock of seeing that the ladder you've been climbing is leaning against the wrong wall. And when that realization hits, it shatters you, because you start to see it everywhere, in your job, your relationships, your routines. It's not just one area, it's all of it, the whole structure, the whole illusion. And in that moment, you have two options: keep pretending or burn the script. But here's the truth most aren't ready for. Letting go of the fake life feels like dying. Because it is. It's the death of the persona, the death of the roles, the death of everything you built to protect yourself from being seen. But in that death, something else begins, something real, something terrifying and liberating. Not happiness, not success, something deeper, presence. And presence is what makes life real. So if you feel lost, disoriented, like you're standing on ruins, good. That means the illusion is cracking. That means something in you is waking up. Don't rush to rebuild. Don't rush to fix. Just stand in the ashes and breathe. Sometimes, the most alive we'll ever feel is right after we stop lying to ourselves. Let's go deeper. If you're still here, it means you're not just curious, you're ready. Ready to face the real question most avoid their entire lives. Why are we here? Not the superficial answers, not the rehearsed spiritual quotes or recycled motivational slogans. The real question, what is this existence for? Is there a purpose to this strange experience of being human? Or are we just wandering through chaos, pretending it all matters? There are many theories. Some say we're here to serve a higher power, that life is a divine assignment, and each of us was born with a mission coded into our being. Others believe we're here to grow, to evolve, to move closer to some form of enlightenment or wholeness. Then there's the idea that we live inside a simulation, a matrix designed to test, trap, or observe us. Maybe life is a program. Maybe you're just a character in someone else's script. Another view claims we're here to create not just art or business, but meaning itself. That nothing has inherent purpose until we assign it. You're not here to discover the meaning of life. You're here to build it. There's also the evolutionary perspective, that we're simply a result of biology, driven by survival, reproduction, and instinct. That everything else, love, purpose, morality, is just a byproduct of chemistry and time. Some say we're spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, that we came here to remember what we forgot, to feel pain, pleasure, love, loss, all to return home with deeper wisdom. Others argue that life is a cosmic joke, a random accident in an indifferent universe, and any attempt to find meaning is just the brain trying to stay sane in the face of nothingness. There are those who believe we're here to help others, to serve, to give, to heal, that our purpose is relational and meaning comes from connection. And there's a darker theory too, that we were placed here to suffer, that Earth is a kind of purgatory or karmic prison, that we're here to burn away our illusions through pain. And finally, there's the quiet idea that we are the universe becoming aware of itself, that consciousness is the point, and you are simply a mirror for the infinite. 10 theories, 10 ways of seeing the same mystery, and maybe none of them are fully right, or maybe they all are, fragments of a bigger truth we can't grasp yet. The point isn't which one you choose. The point is that you start choosing consciously, that you stop living as if the question doesn't matter, because it does. More than anything, most people will never ask themselves why they're here. They'll keep playing the roles, collecting the badges, dying slowly in the name of comfort. But if you're here, reading this, it means something in you refuses to settle. Something in you is still searching. Don't ignore that. That hunger you feel, that quiet pull towards something real. It's not weakness, it's your soul trying to wake you up. Let's break this down from another angle. Beyond philosophy and belief, what does science say about why we're here? Neuroscience, for example, doesn't offer purpose. It offers patterns. It tells us our brains evolved to survive, not to find meaning. Meaning is something we construct, not something we detect. The brain is a prediction machine. It seeks safety, routine, familiarity. It wasn't designed for purpose. It was designed for survival. That's why so many people feel lost. They try to extract meaning from a system built for repetition. From a biological view, you're a temporary configuration of cells, atoms, neurons. You're born, you grow, you decay. The goal? Replication. The passing on of genetic material. Everything else, love, joy, sorrow, is secondary, even accidental. But if that's all we are, why do we yearn so deeply? Why does something inside us ache for transcendence, for connection, for truth? Science doesn't answer that. It observes the mechanisms. It cannot touch the mystery. Religion, on the other hand, gives the mystery a face. It says, you were created by something greater for something greater, that your existence is no accident, that your suffering isn't meaningless. But even religion divides, each tradition painting a different map of purpose. Some say we're here to serve. Others say we're here to return. Some speak of sin, others of karma, others of unity. And even within faith, the question remains, what does this mean for you now, in your life, today? Culture adds another layer. In the age of social media, meaning has been outsourced. Purpose is now filtered, liked, shared, sold. You're told your value is in your visibility, your worth, in your productivity. The new religion is attention. And if you don't keep up, if you don't brand your soul properly, you disappear. You become irrelevant. So we edit ourselves, one post at a time, until what's left is a version of us that's digestible, but dead. Modern society doesn't reward depth. It rewards speed, efficiency, external validation. But the search for meaning is slow. It requires silence, and silence terrifies a world addicted to stimulation. That's why most people never find purpose, because they never stop moving long enough to hear their own questions. And when they finally do, it feels foreign, uncomfortable, even painful. So they scroll, they buy, they binge, anything to avoid the discomfort of meaninglessness. But what if the discomfort is the point? What if the void you feel isn't something to be filled, but entered? Not solved, but explored. Every tradition, every discipline, from physics to mysticism, meets the same wall. We don't fully know why we're here. But maybe the not knowing is sacred. Maybe it's not a flaw in the system, but the key to waking up inside it. What if you've been looking for the wrong thing all along? What if the idea that life has a clear, fixed purpose is itself a distraction? Another way to avoid the discomfort of being fully present. We've been taught to search, to chase, to achieve. We've been programmed to believe that somewhere out there is an answer that will finally make everything make sense. But what if purpose isn't something you find? What if it's something you build, moment by moment, through the way you choose to meet reality? The obsession with figuring it out can become its own form of avoidance. It keeps you in your head, analyzing, doubting, projecting into the future, comparing your path to others. You try to calculate meaning instead of feeling your life directly. But your life isn't a puzzle to be solved. It's not a theory. It's a practice. And that practice begins the moment you stop needing to escape yourself. The truth is, you won't find purpose while running from pain. You won't find it in the comfort zones or in the curated identities you wear to feel safe. Real meaning doesn't emerge in perfection. It shows up in the places you were told to avoid. Your grief, your shame, your confusion, your fear. That's where your real self lives. That's where the life you've been searching for has been hiding, behind everything you've been trying not to feel. We live in a culture obsessed with answers and allergic to stillness. But the path back to meaning requires you to stop, to grieve the life you thought you were supposed to live, to sit with the disorientation of not knowing, and to allow space for something new to emerge, not from the outside, but from your own awareness. That's the paradox. The more you try to control life, the more dead it becomes. But the moment you surrender, not in defeat, but in truth, you begin to feel it again. You don't need to escape your pain. You need to enter it. You need to stop labeling it as a problem and start treating it like a portal. That ache in your chest, that quiet dread when you wake up, that's your soul trying to speak through the numbness. That's life knocking from the inside, not to break you, but to break you open. Everything in you that you've been trying to hide. That's where the gold is. Your insecurities, your doubts, your failures, your rage. They are not the enemy. They are parts of you that were exiled because they didn't fit the mask. But masks don't bleed. Masks don't love. Masks don't grow. Only the real you can do that. The raw, unfiltered, imperfect you. Healing isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And when you start living from that place, not a role, not a concept, but your actual experience, everything shifts. Life becomes less about achievement and more about alignment. Less about answers, more about awareness. You stop trying to be someone, and you start being here. And maybe that's the point. Not to reach some final answer, but to live the question. Not to become perfect, but to become whole. Not to find meaning, but to create it. In the way you speak, the way you love, the way you show up even when it's hard. That's not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable, but it's real. And real is what you've been craving all along. So if you're still looking for purpose, stop and start listening to your breath, to your body, to the quiet pull towards something more honest. Let yourself be cracked open. Let yourself feel what you've been avoiding. Let yourself remember that you're not here to perform. You're here to live, fully, painfully, beautifully, alive. So let's bring it all together. After everything we've explored, the theories, the science, the silence, the pain, where does that leave us? What does it all point to? I can only speak from what I've seen, what I've lived, what I believe deep down. We are not here by accident, and we are definitely not here just to survive. I believe every single one of us comes into this world with something inside, a potential, a seed, a pull. And our real task in life is to uncover it, live it, and share it. Call it soul, call it nature, call it code. But it's there. You can see it in the ones who break through limits, who create what seems impossible. Not because they're better, but because they listened, because they stopped following someone else's script and started writing their own. Some people spend their whole lives on autopilot, doing what's safe. Others climb the highest mountain, dive to the deepest ocean, speak truth that shakes the world, or heal wounds that no one else could touch. That's not luck. That's alignment. I believe the meaning of life is self-realization. Not as ego, not as status, but as full expression of what already lives inside you. And when you do that, you don't just feel alive, you awaken something in others. Your courage becomes a mirror. Your clarity becomes a map. Your fire becomes a signal to those still lost in the dark. I think that's why we're here. To remember who we are, to become that fully, and to lift others by doing it. Not through saving them, but through being real in front of them. It doesn't matter whether you believe it's God, or the universe, or energy, or nothing at all. What matters is that this life, this one, is the space where you get to choose. Choose presence over pretending, truth over comfort, creation over compliance. And in that choice, over and over again, you'll find meaning, not as a destination, but as a practice, as a rhythm, as a state of being. And maybe that's the whole point. Not to wait for purpose to arrive, but to become the kind of person who lives with it. Through action, through honesty, through showing up, even when it's hard. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be ready. You just need to stop betraying yourself. That's where it starts. That's where it always starts. If this feels true for you, write it into your story. Let it move you. Let it change how you show up. And if this video cracks something open, even a little, then stay close. Subscribe to this channel so more people can hear the truth that rarely gets spoken. Join the Telegram. That's where the masks come off and the real work begins. And if you recognize yourself in any of this, write in the comments, "I accept my shadow." Let it be your vow to yourself. Let it be a signal to others. Or write, "My darkness is my power. I'm done running from pain. I take off the mask." Say it not for me, but for you. For the part of you that already knows this is the turning point. The moment you stop waiting to live and finally start becoming. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. And something tells me you're ready now.